Trump campaign is now reaching voters online.
You are seeing the President of the United States. Look at the lines. You join our movement. A lot of President Trump supporters here. Greatest movement in the history of our country.
I think the one thing we can say they all have in common is they are fighters, both figuratively and literally.
We are leaders in our communities, going to ensure that President Trump gets reelected soundly in November.
Because we have such strong leadership coming from the White House, we are making it through.
God has called President Trump for this purpose in this time, so let's keep voting for him, and we will keep winning.
I honestly don't know why Joe Biden is running. He can't remember anything.
President Trump has been a champion for families and in particular for mothers.
And he ran on, I'm going to build the wall.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's Army for Trump Online Boot Camp. I'm Erin, Principal Deputy Communications Director for President Trump's campaign. We have an excellent show ahead for you this evening, taking you across the country yet again for updates from some of our top state directors that are on the ground doing the work to make sure President Trump can win again. And we've got a great update coming from Jenna, Ellis, and Justin Clark about the election coming up. Stay tuned and let's get this kicked off. I want to start tonight with Bethany Hudson, a good friend of mine, and I am so excited to see her, our North Carolina State Director. It's so good to see you.
Thanks, Erin. Good to see you.
So let's go ahead and talk about the transition of the campaign from being on the ground and grassroots, interacting with voters, to the digital and distance format we are in right now. Can you tell us how things have been going in North Carolina?
Definitely. It's been awesome. Our team transitioned almost seamlessly. I mean, they just took the new orders to go virtual and we ran with it. In fact, we've done over 300 TVLIs and over 300 MAGA meetups since we went virtual, with almost 2,500 one-on-one meetings with our volunteers out in the field. And I'm proud to say that since going virtually, North Carolina has done over 1 million voter contacts alone in this span of time. In North Carolina, we have a state toast that says, where the weak grow strong and the strong grow great, and we can attest to that with this virtual transition.
Staying engaged and bringing more folks into the fold with each TVLI, the Trump Victory Leadership Initiative trainings. So let's talk a little bit about what we're telling voters in the field and what you're seeing every day with your volunteers, the new ones and the trainings, and how everything's going.
Yes, our team is able to reach statewide to a lot of different demographics that maybe we wouldn't have in previous campaigns. Our team alone is very diverse. We have immigrants on our team from Venezuela, Nigeria, Liberia, and the Dominican Republic. We have almost 10 veterans, including a second lieutenant in the National Guard. A quarter of our team is female. We have age ranges from 18 to 65 on the team. And so they're really able to kind of get out there and speak to all different demographics, not just, what a traditional Republican campaign may reach. And so we've heard lots of good things. In fact, I heard from our phone calls yesterday, the most common answer they got from folks was, I'm a registered Democrat, but I'm voting for President Trump. So it's been very encouraging.
That diversity really does represent what President Trump represents, which is America first. It's about every American. It's about this country. And it's great to see that that message is working in North Carolina. Now, we're going to transition just a little bit to a top volunteer that you guys have in North Carolina. I believe her name is Kathy Flanagan. Can you tell us a little bit more about Kathy?
Yes, Kathy is fantastic. As far back as we can trace, Kathy has been a volunteer for Victory since the 2012 cycle. So she is tested. She knows the deal. She can probably teach us a thing or two about what we're doing. And this year she's super excited. She told us that before this cycle of victory came into town, she was losing her faith, and she felt a little bit discouraged that all the bad media that the president was getting, and she just wasn't feeling very reassured. And then once we hit the ground, she said it restored her faith, and she's been right there with us every step of the way. And she reaches her community where she knows best. And so before COVID and before we went virtual, she had a weekly MAGA meetup with volunteers. And it was it was an after Mass MAGA meetup. And she would just bring folks from Mass to eat lunch, and they would talk about the president and all the good things he was doing. And she's one of the ones that probably we would take for granted. And so I just thank you for this opportunity to get to highlight her, because she is so great. And so we want to show her how much we appreciate her and what good work she does for us.
Well, Kathy sounds like a top-notch volunteer. Let's watch a quick clip from Kathy Flanagan.
Hi, my name is Kathy, and I'm from the great state of North Carolina. I'm a team leader for President Trump because he is pro-life. I've been working to organize Catholics to support the president. Together we are working to make thousands of phone calls for the president to ensure he wins. Right now, just ask 5 friends or family members to join you in supporting the president. Together we can win in November, but we need your help. Thank you.
Wow, Kathy is such the heart of what this movement is about with President Trump. It's about the fact that he is a president that leads and that Americans can really identify with. Bethany, like I said, it's so good to see you, and I'm so glad we got to spend time together today on Army for Trump Online Boot Camp. Keep up the fantastic work in North Carolina, and everyone stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have an update from the great state of Maine.
Hey everybody, I'm Laura Trump. The race to November is heating up, and the Trump campaign is gearing up to work harder than ever before to secure 4 more years for President Trump. To achieve this historic win, we need you, your friends, your neighbors, and your families to join our movement. Ready to fight for President Trump? Text ENLIST to 88022 and register at armyfortrump.com today.
We choose truth over facts.
Welcome back to this evening's Army for Trump Online Boot Camp. I'm Erin, and joining me now from the great state of Maine is our Maine State Director, Joe Turcotte. Joe, welcome to the show and happy birthday.
Thanks, Erin. Happy to be here.
What a way to spend your birthday. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the state of Maine and how you guys transitioned from a field operation to a virtual one. How did that go for the team in Maine?
Yeah, certainly. We transitioned to a virtual campaign within 24 hours. It was pretty seamless. Even for a state as rural as Maine, the virtual campaign has been going extremely well. We made over 233,000 voter contacts. We've done 186 virtual events, whether it's a Trump Victory Leadership Initiative training or a MAGA meetup, or even a Trump Talk training so people can make phone calls from their house. They've been going extremely well. We've seen a huge increase in the number of volunteers who want to get involved because of the president's accomplishments and because of what he's doing right now. So the great state of Maine just keeps moving forward.
It's what we love to hear. And you talked a little bit about kind of the diversity that you see in Maine, having a rural focus. Tell us a little bit what it's like on a daily basis with working with voters remotely and in the rural communities.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm actually born and raised in Maine. I'm actually from a town of only 800 people with one gas station and grocery store. So when people talk about real campaigning, I know what it's like. It's really interesting and it's fun because it's community based. Our field program is about neighbors talking to neighbors, and there's nothing more perfect than having this campaign just keep moving forward. And whether it's a virtual campaign, doing a TV live training, we've seen a huge uptick in the number of volunteers from rural areas where President Trump won big in 2016 and he's going to win big in 2020. So especially in Maine's 2nd congressional district. Maine only has 2 congressional districts, but the 2nd, which President Trump won in 2016, is the largest east of the Mississippi. So we have a lot of ground to cover. And thankfully, due to the campaign, we've been seeing tons of new volunteers come to our program, and they're ready to get going.
It's so exciting to hear that we're bringing more people into the fold, even as people are working apart and continuing to get President Trump's message out there. And again, I think we've got a really great volunteer that you want to talk about, Kelly Kusnarek. What can you tell us about Kelly as a member of Team Trump?
Oh, certainly. So Kelly is actually a small businesswoman. She owns a small laundromat, and she's been a neighborhood team leader with us from the beginning. Even as her business has dipped a little bit due to the social distancing and the essential worker business situation, she's still volunteering every single week for us. She's making phone calls. She's hosting MAGA meetups. She's doing TV live trainings. She's bringing new friends and family into the program. And Kelly is a lot like all of our other volunteers. They're people who have benefited from the president's policies, and they want to get involved because they know how important it is. They know that President Trump is going to deliver for the American people, unlike Joe Biden. And that's what inspires me every single day to find new volunteers like Kelly. And we're so lucky to have her on our great team.
Kelly is part of the heart of what we do here with Team Trump. And let's watch this quick clip from Kelly.
My name is Kelly. I live in Scarborough, Maine. I'm a volunteer for the Trump Victory Campaign, and I am a small business owner. I support Donald Trump because he fights for our country and gets results. We've had a wonderful economy. He has a daily fight on his hands with a resistance that's going on right now, and he is incredible. And my support for him runs very deep. It will never change. It's very deep, and I am going to be there for this campaign, and I hope that we have Donald Trump for 4 more years.
Thanks to the incredible work of volunteers like Kelly, we are fighting for 4 more years of President Trump. Joe, thank you for joining us this week, and I hope you have a fantastic birthday and get to enjoy a little bit of downtime, although not too much. We got to charge ahead to November 3rd.
Thanks, Erin. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And now I want to take the chance to highlight our National Volunteer of the Week, Connor Ball. Connor is from Augusta, Georgia. He is 18 years old, and he is a key member of the Trump Victory team. He is out there day in and day out recruiting volunteers and working in his county to make sure that President Trump's message is out there. Connor, on behalf of Team Trump, we are so thankful for volunteers like you and the hard work you do to get President Trump's message out there. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. After this break, we will be right back with Jenna, Ellis, and Justin Clark for an update on the election ahead. Stay tuned.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
Hysterical xenophobia. Giving Americans a false sense.
Is it accurate that if these steps had not been put in place, it could have been 2 million people dead here in the United States?
Yes.
No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't. We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy.
What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And you know that. With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. And we will make America great again.
In 2016, we built an unbeatable operation that changed history. Now, we unveil our next breakthrough. The exclusive Trump 2020 app. This isn't just an app. This is your source for real news, not fake news. Straight from the campaign and the president himself. This is your direct line to give input on key campaign issues. Your portal to register voters. Host MAGA meetups. Your scheduler. Your application on becoming a Trump team leader. Join millions and get a front row seat to our virtual events. Watch Team Trump every night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Earn points, get rewarded, get the presidential photo. Oh, and did we mention, this is your personal shopper too? So just to repeat, this isn't just an app. This is your tool to keep America great. Join the Army for Trump and download the app today.
This is Brad Parscale, President Trump's campaign manager. Without a doubt, 2020 will be the most important election of the history of our great nation. America has come too far in the last 4 years to give up now and let the Democrats undo all of our incredible progress. Don't listen to the fake news media. They said we had no chance in 2016, and they're saying it again now. The future of our nation depends on you. The only way to ensure victory and keep America great is to get out and vote. Use the link below to make sure that you're registered to vote.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Perrine with Team Trump, and now we've got a special edition here of the Army for Trump online boot camp. Joining me right now, we have Jenna Ellis, Senior Legal Advisor and Personal Counsel to President Trump. Jenna, it's good to see you.
Great to see you too, Erin, especially today with the new Space Force flag being unveiled. So exciting for Army for Trump, and it's a great time to be with you.
Absolutely. And also joining us today, Justin Clark, Senior Political Advisor and Senior Counsel to President Trump's campaign. Justin, it's good to see you.
Hey, good to see you too, Erin. Go Huskies. Good to have a UConn alum interviewing me.
Always got that UConn pride. Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and get started because there is a lot at stake here in the 2020 election. And certainly when it comes to election integrity, we just saw two strong Republican wins in Wisconsin's 7th Congressional District and in California's 25th Congressional District. 2 seats, 2 more Republicans in the House of Representatives to help get President Trump's America First agenda through. But in California specifically, we have seen the governor take an aggressive action to try and fundamentally change the way that voting works. Justin, can you speak to Governor Newsom's executive order?
Sure thing, Erin. So as you mentioned, we saw a big special election in California this week. Right before that, Governor Newsom issued an executive order which effectively changed California's election system to entirely vote by mail for the fall. As you know, California has been a hotbed of really radical leftist changes in our voting systems in this country that have led to a real deterioration in the Republican vote. And frankly, it's a result of out-and-out fraud. Here's the problem. Voting by mail leads to election fraud because what you're doing is you're sending ballots out into the ether. And with the laws they have about ballot harvesting in California, you're effectively letting ballots go out there, people be able to go into people's homes with them while they vote, and then return the ballots for them or not if they didn't vote the right way. It's a big, big, big problem. Let me give you this. This is the equivalent of someone passing a law saying, you know what, we're going to let an election worker go into the polling booth with you while you vote and look over your shoulder while you do it. We've just done that on a massive scale, or I should say Governor Newsom has just done that on a massive scale in California. And it's going to lead to a lot of problems in November, and we're gonna fight really hard to make sure that we get that corrected because it's a big, big, big problem.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that everybody who can vote can legally do so and do so once without the heavy hand of the government over top of that. And let's talk a little bit more about election integrity, why this is so vital to make sure that everybody can vote. Jenna, let's go a little bit further into election integrity and protecting the vote here in America.
Yeah, so election integrity should, of course, be a nonpartisan issue. We all as Americans understand that participating in our constitutional republic, having the right to access that franchise, is something that we all cherish because we, the people, get to select and prefer who we put in office and who can exercise the powers of government. That's something that we hold very, very dear, and our founders understood the importance of that. And so we want to maintain and make sure that election integrity, meaning that there's free and fair elections in America, really is not party specific, it's not candidate specific, it's not state specific, it's something that every American should care about. And so when you look at where these challenges are coming from to the safeguards that are protecting the ballot, they're coming just from the Democratic Party that is trying to manipulate the ballot. They're trying to remove every safeguard for our free and fair elections. Why? Well, they know that they can't win fairly, and that is not what America is all about. If they can't win, then maybe they need to get a better candidate, they need to get a better platform, or maybe they just need to support President Trump because he has such motivation behind him. And so that's exactly why we need to make sure that election integrity across America and in every state, in every precinct, for every election, from the president all the way down to the local elections, have integrity, and we make sure that we, the people, get to actually have our voice heard at the ballot box.
It's so important. Justin, do you have anything to add on the election integrity front?
I mean, all I would say is that that Jenna's exactly right. This is an all-out fight to make sure that our elections are not just fair, but that people think and understand and know that they're fair, that we're doing all we can to make sure they are. And it's a fight. Look at this week with Nancy Pelosi and the bill she proposed in Congress. Hidden in there, in that bill, is getting rid of signature matching, getting rid of voter ID, mailing ballots to every voter in the country, setting up, radically changing our entire system of voting throughout the country and federalizing it. Thank goodness we've got good Republicans up on the Hill who are going to fight this and make sure it doesn't happen. But it just shows you what they want to do. And Jen is dead right. The reason they want to do it is because whether or not they win a race for office, they want to make sure they win the election. And it's got to stop. And we've got to fight it.
Democrats continue to think that the only way that they can win is to put more federal mandates on things, and that's just not the case. What are we doing on the Trump campaign as Republicans, and how can people help to fight back against this fundamental federalist change that Democrats want to put through to be able to protect our election system? Justin, I'll go to you first.
Sure. I mean, well, first of all, I think one of the things we can do, and the folks out there and across the country can do, is sign up to help on Election Day. The Army for Trump website has a great sign up where you can come and we'll get you connected with our local people on the ground. We're already fighting every single day with our staff, with the RNC, to make sure that we're winning these fights and we're protecting the vote. The other thing you can do is get involved in your local elections, right? Or in your local election as a local election official. Not only is it a great way to make sure that there's election integrity, but you're right in the voting place. You are making sure that everything's free and fair. And as Erin, as you said, that everybody who has the right to vote gets the opportunity to vote once. I'd also say our election officials, our local election officials, those folks are strained to find people, so they'll be really glad to get people in. Again, we want to make sure that no one's putting their thumb on the scale in favor of anybody. And the more we can get good people in working our elections, either on the political side or on the election administration side, the better.
Absolutely. Jenna, what are some ways you'd recommend people join in the fight to make sure that we have free and fair elections in this country?
Yeah, and I would just echo what Justin said. Definitely join Army for Trump. You can go to that and see all of the different ways that you can get engaged and involved. And also the RNC and the Trump campaign has launched, as of last week, protectthevote.com. And you can go and actually get informed and educated so that then you can educate others on why election integrity matters. So go to protectthevote.com, see where we're fighting. You can click on your own state to see what issues are ripe there, where the challenges are and how you can get involved. And then also, you know, we, especially during this whole stay-at-home situation, as we're all engaging much more online and social media, you can engage the fight there as well. President Trump tweeted keyboard warriors last night, and I thought that was so wonderful, where he was saying, you know, we're all really harnessing the power of social media and engaging each other on these really important issues. And so as we make sure that we're engaging that, we are participating in the message that free and fair elections matter, and that we see you Democrats, we see what you're doing, we see that you're trying to put your thumb on the scale, and we're not going to allow it. That sends a very clear message about conservatism, because let's remember, we are for the U.S. Constitution and the protections that it provides for American values and for our elections, and to make sure that we are participating in conserving. That's the root word of conservatism, right? We're conserving the values and the things that make America great. And so the more that we can engage in that messaging and that we can educate others after we've educated ourselves, that really goes a long way to then show the rest of the country why election integrity matters.
That's so right. We definitely want to make sure we are conserving and remaining conservative to protect American principles. Let's talk a little bit about federalism and what Democrats are trying to do to damage our democracy. Jenna, what do you have to say on this?
Yeah, so you know, federalism is this idea that not only is there a separation of powers on the federal level, we're all aware of, you know, the difference between the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branches, but there's also a separation of powers between the federal, state, and then also powers reserved to we the people, right? And so that sort of vertical separation is what we call federalism. And so elections are always given by law to the states. And so when we look at what the Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to create this national process through not only the national popular vote and also a federal mandate for mail-in ballots and vote by mail. They're trying to create this national rule just so that they can control the process, because it's much easier to have one rule in place than have to go and challenge all of the election laws around all of the states. And so we have to make sure that we maintain the Constitution's requirement and the intent of federalism for state sovereignty, and the fact that states get to determine their rules and make sure that we participate in the electoral college when we're talking about the presidential election, and also that the state and local elections are done in the process there, and that we understand that federalism absolutely matters. And so this is something, though, that, you know, from a wider perspective, the Democrats on every level, it's not just election integrity. They are trying to manipulate the rules to their advantage in literally everything that they touch. And so from trying to change the Constitution unilaterally to trying to change the rule of law, they don't actually care about conserving and protecting American principles. They only care about manipulating the rule of law to their advantage. And we can't allow that to happen. That is fundamentally anti-American, anti-U.S. Constitution. And that's why this isn't just a party issue. It's not a partisan issue. It's fundamentally an American issue.
Wow, Jenna, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head there. Democrats want to take away the state's powers and try and implement a federal one-size-fits-all on voting. But a state like Maine and a state like North Carolina have very different demographics and very different needs when it comes to voting. Justin, what can you add to the federalism conversation here?
You are both dead right about this. Our system is designed to have 50 separate presidential elections or federal elections every 4 years. And it's designed that way, and all the voting systems are different. It creates a competition among states about who can do a better job of counting votes. Allows different states to try out different things, to do different methods of voting, and you know, it's done really well by the United States since the founding of the republic, and I think I think we should keep it. But I would also add the reverse side. If you think that the swamp is bad now, imagine having every single election decision around the country determined by some bureaucrat sitting in Washington, D.C. That's not the way we should do things, right? It's not going to get any better if we give more power to the federal government to make decisions in our lives. It's only going to get worse. And we just need to make sure that we are honoring what the founders put in place, and that we are exercising our right to vote, making sure that we get out to vote. Because the reality is, all this voter fraud, these things, we need to overwhelm them at the polls with people who are going to support the principles of federalism and this president, and that'll be the best thing we can do to win this election.
It's so important. There's so much at stake in the 2020 election when you look at President Trump's America First agenda and you look at Joe Biden's big government, and you see that the DC swamp wants to make government bigger and bigger and take away more rights. Jenna, what's one last thing you can add to the conversation here on the importance of election integrity?
Yeah, I would just add that, if you look at the difference between the two candidates, the presumptive nominees, of course, President Trump running for re-election, and then the presumptive Democrat nominee, Joe Biden, President Trump is the one that has said on multiple occasions how much he cherishes the Constitution and our founding principles and how much he puts America first. He wants to keep America great. And those are all the things that every American, regardless of what state you live in, regardless of, what is going on in your personal life, we all are fundamentally Americans and value and cherish our Constitution. That is not something that the Democrat liberal left cherishes at all. If anything, they are ripping it up every day, just like Nancy Pelosi ripped up that speech at the State of the Union address. That is what they're doing to the principles of freedom and liberty. And that's why I am so proud to be with you all and everyone in this army for Trump, because this is really an army for America. And it's making sure that we are protecting and preserving the fundamental principles that our country was founded upon today in 2020 and for the next generation, because we have 4 more years of President Trump's America First agenda to make sure that we are continuing to value and cherish our Constitution and promote liberty and freedom across America. And that's something we can all really get excited about.
Absolutely. Justin, anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, I think Jenna summed it up really well. I would just add that, unless people, voters, have faith that in the outcome of an election, that it actually reflects their will, the government isn't legitimate, right? We lose legitimacy and faith in our government when people don't think that the people they voted for were actually elected. It's really, really important to make sure that that there not only is a free and fair election, but that everybody feels that there is one. And right now, we are under assault to implement a system that would not do that and would not serve that well. It's a really important thing. And I would just add one other thing. This president, his team, and Republicans in general are about process, are about an orderly process to administer elections. Every single item the Democrats try to put up with respect to voting is about one thing, and it's about winning and power. There is no principle or basis that they have other than that in terms of what they want to change with voting laws. And frankly, it's disgusting. So we need to fight back. We will fight back. And I call on everybody who's listening and who's out there to help if they can. So thanks very much for everything.
I want to thank you both so much. It's good to see both of you. And if you at home are interested in joining the Army for Trump, there are a number of ways that you can help not only preserve the election process, but become part of the movement to keep America great with President Trump. Download the Trump Campaign app, the Trump 2020 Campaign app in the App Store or in the Android store. You can also text Trump to 88022. Sign up for text messages, sign up to stay involved. You can become a great volunteer in a state like North Carolina or Maine. Or if you visit the Army for Trump website, just like Justin said, you can find out how to join the Election Day operations team. You don't have to be a lawyer. We can teach you how to be a firm part of the process to protect the election process in this country. I want to thank all of our participants this evening. It has been a great broadcast, and it's been my honor to be part of it with you. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the Army for Trump. Stay safe, stay healthy, and together we're on to victory. Have a good night.